Today's testimony highlights the results of our investigation into allegations of fraud and abuse. My testimony has two parts. First, I will discuss the results of our investigation, and second, I will discuss the consequence of fraud and abuse in this program. First, we are investigating allegations of fraud and abuse that we received on our hotline related to two nonprofit grant recipients. Specifically, 11 informants provided us with numerous allegations of fraud and abuse. It is important to note that enrollment of children from families with incomes over 130% of the poverty level is generally limited to 10%. Thus, with some exceptions, 90% of families must be under this income level, which in 2009 was about $24,000 for a family of three. A key allegation is that grant recipients are manipulating records to enroll over-income children into under-income slots. This is being done to fill open slots that were intended for children from families with incomes below the 130% level. Key findings to date for these two cases include: at one grantee, staff encouraging parents to apply as homeless, which results in automatic enrollment. 353 of 1,587 children at this grantee are enrolled as homeless, or 22% of all children. For the other grantee, 63 children were moved between centers so that they could be double counted. The incentive for management here was to boost enrollment so that they would not lose any of their $13 million of Head Start grants. Based on these two allegations, we decided to perform undercover testing across the country to look into this issue. The primary scenario that we used was to provide evidence to centers showing that our bogus children and families were over the 130% of poverty level. We refer to these as our over-income tests. Using bogus children and fabricated documents, our undercover testing was done in centers in California, Texas, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland, and Washington, D.C. 7 centers in 4 of these states and D.C. fraudulently enrolled our over-income children into under-income slots. We also successfully enrolled children using bogus documents showing that we were under income. These tests clearly show that the Head Start program is vulnerable not only to grantee fraud, but also to beneficiary fraud. Here are 2 examples of what we found. First, as you can see on the 2 monitors, on the top, you see the W-2 we provided for our fictitious parent, Vinny. Notice on the bottom that rather than record the $23,000 of wages, Vinny was recorded in center records as being unemployed. Exclusion of this $23,000 of income made Vinny and his family under income.
That's just what's up that is.
In the next case, the monitors show on the top left $23,000 of wages for our fictitious grandfather, Gary. On the top right, you see the $9,500 of wages for Grandma. Once again, the $23,000 of wages for Gary were excluded from center records. As you see on the bottom, the only income recorded in center records was the $9,500 of wages for Grandma. In this case, the Head Start employee who perpetrated this fraud agreed with our undercover agent that, and I quote, "Grandma wins," end of quote. At the end of my presentation, as was mentioned, we will play audio excerpts showing Head Start employees facilitating the fraudulent enrollment of bogus over-income children into under-income slots. Moving on to my second point, 450 of the 550 Head Start centers that we contacted had waiting lists. The parents we spoke to on these wait lists, assuming they were truthful, were generally under income. Some were unemployed, while others were making $200 to $300 a week. My concern is that over-income families fraudulently enrolled are being served while the poorest children in our country are on wait lists. Without Head Start, the parents on these wait lists told us that they cannot work. They fear that their children will enter kindergarten substantially behind their peers. This, Mr. Chairman, is the answer to our so what question today. In conclusion, the victims of fraud and abuse in the Head Start program are not only taxpayers, but more importantly, children from the very poorest families in our country. I fear that enrollment fraud is not the only fraud in the Head Start program. Mr. Chairman, I look forward to working with you and this committee and HHS to prevent future fraud in the Head Start program. I will now play audio excerpts from several of the undercover visits to Head Start centers. You will see the transcription of the conversations on the monitor as you watch.
I need to look at your income. What's your income? That's what I need to look at.
There is.
Both of these are for 09. Together, combined wages for 09. And you have 3. This is all income. Okay, you're fine. You're going to use this.
Okay.
That's fine.
Oh, so what do I need to do an application then?
You can put him on there, but you don't have to put his income on there.
Okay.
No, I'm not supposed to see it.
Okay.
Okay.
And so now you see it, now you don't.
Now you see it, now you don't. We're not doing it.
Okay, you got an appointment from
I'm employed.
you're employed?
Part-time.
Part-time? Okay, part-time.
The big's full-time.
I mean, it really doesn't matter since y'all in the same household, and I don't have to use both of your incomes.
You have to?
I don't
Okay.
have to, you know, which it really doesn't make a difference, but they give priority to people who have less income.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
I'm cut off.
Are these okay?
Yeah, we're fine. I just picked out an income. Okay.
Did I win or did she win? Who won? Grandma or me?
Grandma should have lower income. I took that one.
I'll tell her Grandma won.
How many are in the family?
Just 3 of us.
Yeah, because then with her income, you would be eligible right now. Yours and hers together would make you over income.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
no problem.
Mr. Chairman, that ends my statement, and I look forward to your questions.